You know, it's interesting, Anna. If you look overseas, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister
Mm.
of the United Kingdom, his premiership might be over. The delta between the reaction overseas and the
Yeah.
reaction over here is tremendous.
Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Monday, February 9th, 2026. Let's get in the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, what's next on government funding? Will DHS face a shutdown? Number two, the Clintons continue sparring with James Comer. And number three, we've got the latest in Canvass polling. All right, Jake, let's get into it. The big headline story of the week is, can Congress come to some kind of deal when it comes to DHS funding? Magic 8 Ball says the future is unclear.
Yeah, that's right. We are now again in a shutdown week, and like any shutdown week, Congress has put the deadline on Friday, the day Congress goes away, for a week-long recess. As we've been mentioning, a lot of people are going to the Munich Security Conference in Germany. A lot of people have congressional delegation trips. People have family vacations. People have plans, and it has put this deadline on Friday. I think the most operative question, because I don't think they're going to get a deal and get it passed by Friday. Whether they can get a deal or not, I'm skeptical they can get a deal, but they almost certainly can't get it through the House and the Senate by Friday, unless literally God comes down and shepherds it through on his own or her own, whatever your view is. You'd have to have all 100 senators agree to hold, there's just no chance. The question is, can they get a short-term deal? And if they can't get a short-term deal, what do they do? I mean, they need to show some appreciable progress between now and Thursday, Friday to get a deal through. Now, as of now, the House Republican leadership says they have no plans to originate a deal. I would guess at this point, now that I'm just thinking about it a little bit more, the Senate would probably have to do that. So John Thune would have to take initial procedural steps to put a short-term DHS bill on the floor today. And again, you'd have to have 100 senators agree, but and there's also been talk, which we're not taking terribly seriously, about a funding bill for everything except ICE. So that would be, the Coast Guard, DHS, main kind of mainline DHS operations, TSA, et cetera, without ICE, because ICE has a bunch of money from as we've said, about $75 billion from the One Big Beautiful Bill. So can they get that done? I don't think they're going to do that. And I just think that we're going to head into the latter half of this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because the House is not supposed to be in on Friday, in a bit of a crisis mode.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, right? The idea of splitting off ICE versus the other critical infrastructure parts of this bill, FEMA, TSA, Coast Guard. I mean, that basically limits all leverage. That's going to be the Republican talking point this week, right? The Republican point is going to be, listen, there are critical things that need to be funded here, and it's not just ICE. ICE is funded, through the One Big Beautiful Bill, right? And so it feels like there is a lot to get done, a big gulf to kind of cross, if you will. I know I'm doing as many metaphors as possible.
Yeah.
This morning.
Metaphor it up. That's all we've
when
got.
it comes to where we are today and actually getting something done, Democrats only released legislative language on Sunday. So to your point, the Senate would have to move very expeditiously of chamber. That certainly, you can say there's Senate magic when there is the will of the chamber, but right now doesn't feel like that is where we are at. Let's talk about a few other things, Jake, that are happening this week, important for everyone, just in terms of keeping our eyes on the ball about what else is happening here. The Save America Act, House Republican leaders also plan to put that bill on the floor this week. It is a citizenship test and voter ID law for federal elections. We had Representative Anna Paulina Luna on Flyout Day last week. She talked a lot about this. She's a major champion of this. This is going to be one of those big issues where Republicans are going to try enforce the issue. This is something where you've had 4 Democrats cross over and support it historically, but going to be something to watch and kind of see what happens with this bill.
Yeah, I just want to clarify one thing. House Democrats didn't release the language; they released it to Republicans. So we still haven't seen the language on that DHS, on their DHS changes. Goodness gracious, tough on a Monday morning. Save America Act should pass the House. Every Republican voted for the related bill, the Save Act, and you had 4 Democrats last time: Ed Case, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, and Henry Cuellar and Jared Golden. This has kind of been one of the rallying cries for Republicans. It will go to the Senate, where John Thune is under tremendous pressure to take it up, and he has basically said that he will. Not basically, he has said he's a supporter of it. He wants to give it a vote. All of those things, and then we'll get into the conversation about whether he'll blow up the filibuster, which he has said he will not. Other House action, we have the big housing bill, the Housing for the 21st Century Act, which Brendan Peterson has covered amply, and we have also 2 other bills, Anna. We have Robert Adderholt wants to create a $2.50 coin for the 250th anniversary of the United States,
Hmm.
and the House wants a time capsule, Anna, a time capsule that will be opened on July 4th, 2276, 250 years from now. So Punchbowl News will cover both the time capsule and its unearthing
Oh,
in
goodness gracious.
250 years from now, and we'll be excited to do that. And it'll be buried in the Capitol Visitor Center. So, wow, how cool is that, or
Interesting to see
something?
what they choose to put in there, right?
Yeah, well, they'll put an edition of Punchbowl News. They'll print it out so they could see our beautiful prose 250 years from now.
Our take was one of the number 2 story of the morning. The Clinton-Comer clash is going yet another round. Hillary and Bill Clinton are raising new issues with Oversight Committee Chair James Comer over whether private testimony regarding their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein will be filmed. The Clintons have kind of had a lot of different tacks here, trying as long as they could to stall having to testify before this panel, but now are saying they want to do it out in the open. They don't want to have to testify privately before having a public hearing.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting, Anna. There's been stories written about this, but if you look overseas, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister
Mm.
of the United Kingdom, his premiership, according to reports, might be over because he appointed an ambassador to the United States that had connections to Comer. It's just the delta between the reaction overseas and the
Yeah.
reaction over here is tremendous. And I'll just say one other thing. I mean, Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, had some connections. He lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. No one's suggesting he did anything wrong, but he has been in the Epstein files as having communication with
Mm.
Epstein, and it's remarkable to see now. Hillary and Bill Clinton have agreed to testify. The Clintons say it is unfair that private depositions will be videotaped. They want public hearings. But Comer says, no, you're going to get a public hearing after the deposition. Usually, I mean, this is not an unfamiliar argument,
Mhm.
an unfamiliar tiff between a high profile witness and the House Oversight Committee. These kinds of disagreements go back decades. A public hearing is just it's more of a circus. It just is more of a circus. And what committees argue is they need the private deposition to understand kind of the scope of what the witnesses will say before a public hearing. I don't know how this will end up, but the basic reality is you can't ignore a congressional subpoena, Anna. And, I
They
don't know.
tried to for quite a while, and,
Yeah, didn't work.
I think the other thing that's important here and is that there's new information, right? As you say, is coming out with the release of these files. The New York Times reported Sunday that Ghislaine Maxwell was integral in setting up the Clinton Global Initiative, including helping set up funding for it. This is certainly something that you would expect congressional lawmakers to be interested in to understand the full scope of the connection with not only Jeffrey Epstein, but his associates. All right, let's go to the number 3 story of the morning. We've got our latest polling from the Canvas. Super interesting. Most K Street leaders, 90%, said Democrats are in a stronger position than Republicans ahead of the 2026 midterm elections, nearly 84% of Republican respondents ranked the Democratic Party in the more favorable position heading into the campaign season. So, Republicans and Democrats, downtown, private interests, those that are representing companies and the influence industry saying Democrats have a leg up, Jake.
Yeah, I think that's the reality. I mean, you've heard arguments recently from Republicans that they have a lot of money and the story's not done yet. A lot of people in Washington think the story is done and think that Republicans are going to lose the House. Again, Democrats only have to net, whatever, 4 or 5 seats, depending on where things go, a million different factors, but it's not a big hill for them to climb. And we are now what? It's February 9th. Elections are in November. So we've got what, 9 months? What is it? Something like that, until then. And 84% of Republicans, Anna. That's not much confidence from the GOP.
All right, we will leave it there. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media. Tell your friends. It's the best way for folks to find out about us. As always, you can go deeper on all things political news. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.